Today we're going to look at solving multi-step proportions. And just like in solving two-step proportions, what we're trying to do is we're trying to find the value for the variable that makes both of these ratios or both of these fractions equivalent. So just like in two-step proportions, the first thing that we're going to do is cross multiply, because cross multiplication is a shortcut or mechanical way of just using inverse operations. So here I have 6 times 3 equals 5, and because the 5 is being multiplied to x plus 5, I'm going to go ahead and put that in parentheses, the x plus 5. And now I'm just going to simplify. 18 equals, distribute this into the parentheses, and I get 5x plus 25. And now this is just a two-step equation. So the first thing I'm going to do is eliminate the 25 by subtracting 25 from both sides. Minus 25, minus 25, and I get negative 7 equals 5x. Now I've got to eliminate the 5 since it's connected to x through multiplication. I'm going to divide both sides by 5, and I'm left with x equals negative 7 over 5. And I already know that I can't simplify this fraction, so I'm going to go up here in my answer bar, and I'm going to type in negative 7 divided by 5. Example number 2. Again, we have two ratios that equal each other, and what we're trying to find is the value for the variable that makes these equivalent ratios or equivalent fractions. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to cross multiply, and when I cross multiply this numerator, I'm going to go ahead and take that negative with it, so I have negative 5 times x minus 7 equals, and I have x plus 4 times 4. And now this looks like an equation with variables on both sides. And remember, when we have an equation with variables on both sides, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to simplify by distributing if there's distribution to do, and then we're going to combine like terms. Then we're going to eliminate the variable on one side and keep the variable on the other. So we're going to do our variable on our number side, and then we're going to solve. So here I have negative 5 times x and negative 5 times negative 7, which is negative 5x plus 35 equals, and I'm going to distribute from the right side. 4 times 4 and 4 times x is the same thing as 4x plus 16. Now I'm going to look at the coefficient or the value in front of my variable. Here I have negative 5 and 4. Since 4 is larger than negative 5, I'm going to make this my variable side and this my number side. Now I'm going to start by eliminating the variable on the number side. So I'm going to add 5x to both sides. On the left side of the equation, I now have 35 equals, and I can combine like terms here. 4x plus 5x is 9x plus 16. Now this is a two-step equation. First step is I'm going to subtract 16 from both sides, and what I get here is 19 equals 9x. And now I'm going to divide by 9, since 9 is being multiplied to x, and I have x equals 19 divided by 9. There's not a number that both 19 and 9 can be divided by evenly, so I know that is the fraction in the simplest form. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to type that in. 19 divided by 9. Example number 3. Here I have negative 8 over x minus 6 equals 7 over x. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cross multiply. So I have negative 8 times x is negative 8x equals 7 times x minus 6. I'm going to simplify, if I can simplify. In this case, I can simplify the right side of the equation. I have negative 8x equals 7x minus 42. And now I've got variable on both sides, so I'm going to choose the side that the variable has a larger coefficient in front. In this case, 7 is larger than -8, so this is my variable side, this is my number side. I'm going to eliminate the variable on my number side by adding 8x to both sides. And I'm going to write it under the 7x since they're like terms and I can combine them. Here I am left with 0 equals 7x plus 8x is 15x minus 42. I'm going to eliminate the constant now on my variable side by adding 42 to both sides. Plus 42. 42 equals 15x. And now I'm going to eliminate 15 that's being multiplied to x by dividing 15 to both sides. And I have over here x equals 42 divided by 15. I'm going to see if I can simplify this, so I'm going to come over here and see if there's a number that I can divide both of these numbers by to simplify the fraction. 42, and I'm just creating a factor tree to see if they have common multiples, 2 and 3 and 5 and 3. Okay, so they both share 3 as one of their multiples, so I'm going to divide both of these by 3 to simplify this fraction. And what I get is, I know that 3 goes into 42 once with 1 left over, 14, and 3 goes into 15 5 times. Now that's the fraction in its simplest form, so I'm going to type in 15 over 5. Example number 4. We already know that our first step here is going to be to cross multiply, so I'm not going to rewrite the equation. I know that 5 times -4 is -20 equals, and 3 times x minus 3 we can simplify. So I'm going to distribute the 3 to both x and -3, and I get -20 equals 3x minus 9. Now I have a two-step equation, my first step being add 9 to both sides to eliminate the 9 that's being subtracted to x, and I have -11 equals 3x. I'm going to divide the 3 that's being multiplied, and I'm left with x equals -11 over 3. And when I come up here, I'm going to make sure that I type in the negative first, then 11 over 3. Example number 5. Again, our first step is going to be to cross multiply. So I have 2 times x minus 1 equals 4 times 6 is 24. I'm going to simplify by distributing the 2 to x and -1, and I get 2x minus 2 equals 24. Now I'm going to use inverse operations to isolate x. First thing I'm going to do is add 2 to both sides, add 2, and I'm left with 2x equals 26. Divide by 2 to eliminate the 2 that's being multiplied, and I have x equals 13. Please do not type in 13 over 1. 13 over 1 in its simplest form is 13. Example number 6. We're going to cross multiply, and we get 6 times 5 is 30 equals 4 times x plus 1. I'm going to distribute because I can simplify this equation, and I get 30 equals 4 times x is 4x. 4 times 1 is 4. And now I'm going to solve for x by subtracting 4, and I'm left with 26 equals 4x. Now I'm going to divide both sides by 4, and I have x equals 26 over 4. Because they're both even numbers, I know I can simplify this fraction by dividing them both by 2, and I get 13 over 2. So 26 over 4, the fraction in its simplest form for that value is 13 over 2. Example number 7. Here we have a cross multiplication. 4 times 8x, well 4 times 8 is 32, and 32 times x is 32x equals 8 times x plus 2. I'm going to distribute, and I'm left with 332 times 8 times x is 8x plus 16. I've got variable on both sides, so I'm going to select this side to be my variable side. I'm going to subtract 8x. I'm going to subtract 8x, and I have 24x equals 16. Now I've got to eliminate the 24 that's being multiplied, so I'm going to divide both sides by 24. And I have x equals 16 over 24. I know that 4 goes into 16 and 4 also goes into 24. Actually, I can figure out there's actually a larger number that I can divide them both evenly by. It's 8. 8 goes into both of these numbers evenly, so I'm going to divide them both by 8 to simplify the fraction. 16 divided by 8 is 2, and 24 divided by 8 is 3. So this fraction in its simplest form is 2 over 3. Example number 8, sorry. I'm going to cross multiply, and I get 7 times x plus 8 equals 3 times x is just 3x. Once I simplify by distributing, I have 7x plus 56 equals 3x. 7 is bigger than 3, so I'm going to make this my variable side since there's a variable on both sides. So I'm going to subtract 3x, and I'm left with 4x plus 56. 56 equals 0. I'm going to solve for x by first eliminating what's being added. Subtract 56 minus 56. 4x equals a negative 56. And I'm going to divide by 4 because the 4 is being multiplied to x. And I get x equals a negative 56 over 4. 4 does go into 56 evenly. 4 goes into 5, and this is negative. 4 goes into 5 one time with 1 left over, and 4 goes into 16 4 times. So this fraction in its simplest form is actually negative 14, which is an integer. Example number 9. You're going to cross multiply here, and we get 3 times x minus 7 equals 6 times x is 6x. After we simplify by distributing, we have 3x minus 21 on this side equals 6x. 6x is larger than 3x, so I'm going to subtract 3x. Subtract 3x to get the variable on one side. I have negative 21 equals 3x, and I'm going to divide by 3, and I know that x equals 7. Oh, actually, negative 7. Example number 10. Here we have 7 times x plus 3 equals 4 times x plus 4 after we cross multiply. And after we distribute, we're left with 7x plus 21, getting ahead of myself, equals 4x plus 16. 7 is larger than 4, so I'm going to make this my variable side. I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides, and I'm left with 3x plus 21 equals 16. I'm going to subtract 21, since subtraction comes first in reverse PEMDAS, minus 21, and I'm left with 3x equals 16 minus 21 is a negative 5, and I'm going to divide both sides by 3. And when I type this in, I'm going to make sure that negative goes in front, negative 5 divided by 3. We have approximately 50 seconds to do this last example, so I'm going to cross multiply here, and I've got 3 times x minus 3 equals, I'm going to take that negative with the 5, we got negative 5 times x minus 7. Going fast. So I have 3x minus 9 equals negative 5x plus 35. I'm going to add 5x, and I'm left with 8x minus 9 equals 35. Add 9, 8x equals 44. Divide by 8, x equals And I can simplify this because I can divide them both by 2. 22 over 4 can also be simplified by dividing by 2, which equals 11 over 2.